Welcome to Vision Pros, the show all about spatial computing, Vision OS, and getting work done on the Apple Vision Pro. I'm Tim Chatton, host of the show.
Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros. I'm joined by Paolo, the host of the Step Into Vision podcast that just launched, and we're going to be having just a wide-ranging discussion on all things Vision OS, Apple Vision Pro, and VR headsets in general. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so over at visionpros.fm/Patreon or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, here's my discussion with Paolo. Enjoy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Tim.
How are you? Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's pretty hot here in California.
A little heat wave.
It's like, yeah, we had like a heat wave warning. It's like 98 degrees right now. So yeah, it's good. Hot.
Especially that area. You're up in Cupertino area, which it's not San Francisco gets cooler, but yeah, like that's still pretty warm for that northern area of California.
Yeah.
All of our snow's finally melted. We had a couple blizzards and stuff. It's finally all melting away, but it's like fluctuating from like, oh, it's 60 today, now it's 40 or 30. It's like spring's trying to get here, you know.
That's good. Wow.
But yeah, lots of stuff I want to dive into. So first off, I just want to mention brand new Vision Pro, Vision OS podcast you guys launched over at Step in the Vision. What's you're the host or co-host or what's? I listened to the first episode. I'm not sure. Do you guys have a general structure or plan for how that's gonna go week to week or?
Yeah, so we'll be launching the podcast bi-weekly. I will be hosting the podcast, and in some cases we'll have Joseph and guest hosts if I'll be unavailable. The idea is to sort of capture the energy, that casual energy we have in our office hours that we do every Friday and Wednesday. And the conversation really revolves around, hey, what is someone doing in the Vision Pro? How are they developing? Is there something that we can help them with or learn from? So I'll be inviting folks from the community that's focused on different things. So we have UX, UI designers just talking about what are their experiences designing for the Vision Pro and what are the things they've learned or constraints or struggles, and then bringing in 3D artists who are 3D modelers. What are their exciting things that they built on the platform? What are their frustrations, their struggles, the things they've learned, the tools, their pipeline, and just getting ideas, getting different ideas so that the listeners who are coming from different areas of, I guess, games, technology, or wherever they're from, wanting to go to the Vision Pro, it's like, oh, this is how I get started. Or maybe this is how someone has solved my problem. Oh, I've heard this problem before, or something like that.
And it's largely developer focused, but I know you have an interest in like filmmaking and Apple Immersive and stuff. So I'd imagine there'll be some episodes that are more tangents along those grounds versus the pure developer. Or is that, yeah.
We have folks in the community who are immersive filmmakers, spatial filmmakers, and some of them are out filming right now. So I have them on queue, but they are in the community, and most of the conversations we have are conversion pipelines. How are you uploading this? What is the metadata? It's all very technical, and but we also talk about angles, perspectives, and a bunch of other things. So I want to have more of that in the podcast as well. So it can be pretty varied and has a lot of variety with a lot of the folks for the podcast.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I remember back like 15 years ago, I got the GoPro that had the link cable to make 3D recordings from the GoPro 2. That was, early days of just 3D capture, which was fun to play around with. I would love if GoPro introduced like, a spatial way to, you link up two GoPro cameras that are paired in some way. And I don't know, because I think GoPro, they're currently doing the like the 180 capture. That's 2D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what the next step is for that.
So there is a mod coming from Xiangqi, and he's been modding CooCams, turning them, they're actually a 360 camera. He's modding them to become a 180 spatial. And he has a version with the GoPro Max 360 as well. And he's launched a piece of software to do that to be able to turn it to spatial video, and a lot of it is in the Deo VR community. And I've been following that pretty closely because it's allowing different folks to film in 180 immersive and stereoscopic and spatial. So I thought it was pretty cool. So, and I think GoPro is launching a 360 drone.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry, that was DJI. I'm sorry, it was DJI that's launching a 360 drone to combat the anti-gravity R1. So,
something I was super bummed by is the World Baseball Classic finals, Venezuela and U.S. had a immersive version for Galaxy XR somehow, and not the Vision Pro. It was locked to that. It's bizarre to me with how limited that these headsets are. They should just let's launch this everywhere. But it seems like the 1,000 people that had a Galaxy XR headset could watch that.
Well, I mean, they have to have something exclusive, to give it some value.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Apple's pushing the sports will be with immersive stuff, because I know at Lakers they have that partnership that's going on, and that's kind of a cool first step. So I'm curious to see where they go next with this stuff.
Same. I'm hoping it goes to their MLB or their F1. Actually, I would love to see it in the F1.
Yeah, F1 would be great. MLB, I was like, how are they going to do this? And then I saw the 10-minute thing. I think it was the New York Yankees tour.
Yep.
And there was a lot of gameplay integrated into that. It's like, oh, this works. This is good. And yeah,
oh yeah, it does.
It's like I want this because the MLB app's kind of interesting. I need I know. I wish there was a mode that was less. It feels like a 3D window at all times. It's like at times I just want this to be a dumb 2D window. But the live data is kind of cool depending on kind of what you're going for at the time. But yeah, more immersive videos would be great. I was shocked that the dog one released both episodes in one go. Like the one occasion where they could do 1 week, second week, they just let's release it the same day. It's kind of interesting, their strategy for the pipeline of content with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know who decides the release dates of a lot of the videos, but I'm just glad there's more, so you can sort of get an understanding of the editing, the struggling. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, I think it's just taking a while because they're rendering.
I can see that. They've got
I found this on the web.
They've got a studio.
Yeah, sorry. That's
all good. Yeah, Siri's bizarre sometimes. It was in the office the other day. It's like, you would like to call this person. No, I did not say that at all or summon you. It's like, what's going on here? Yeah.
Sometimes I'm surprised. I could be saying a whole paragraph and it's still listening to me, and it hasn't even responded. It's like, no, stop that. I believe that.
I was gonna say my 3-year-olds. I've done the timer thing where I hold the button and say 3-minute timer, whatever, because she likes timers for when we need to move on. She's taken to saying the timers now, which is very cute, and on the watch. And sometimes she'll do 3-minute timer, 5-minute timer, 6-minute timer before it stops listening. And she suddenly has 15 minutes on the clock. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, I guess that's how Siri works. It doesn't take the last one, but just adds them all together. Yep.
Well, hopefully it improves.
Yes. Yes. I am so curious with Mike Rockwell moving from Vision OS to Siri, and how that might make the Vision Pro better if he's doing things with the Vision Pro stuff in mind. I'm not sure how much that's going to happen or not.
I don't know. I'm so excited. I want to go back when you mentioned when I mentioned the whole rendering thing, because I did want to share, because I have my app on the Vision Pro LALO, and we're doing Apple Immersive Video and Spatial Audio. And when I was at the developer center for the Immersive Video workshop, and we have an opportunity to do one-on-ones, and I was showing them my video, my footage. I was very glad that I had praises on the audio, and it was like, great mix. I was like, great. And then I go talk about the video. I said, hey, is it normal that I'm running 28 52-hour renders, and it says, what are you putting on there? And I said, oh, I have a noise reduction, I have this, and I have that, and it's like, yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, so I guess that makes sense.
It reminds me, back in college, it reminds me, when computers were Intel Core 2 Duo or whatever, I remember like just rip all my DVDs or whatever in high quality, and my Mac became at that point just like a rendering engine, just constantly running Handbrake or whatever. It's like it reminds me of that era of just like computers just rendering all the time. Yeah.
You just unlocked a memory where I did that to my DVDs to put them on my iPod.
Yes. Yeah. No. And
I found this on the.
It's funny. I think I own some iPod sized videos from the iTunes store back in the day, like The Office or whatever. And I discovered it's like, oh, that's bizarre because you can't these days. That video I could not re-download to put on an iPod because it's too high resolution. It's kind of like moved on from that. Yeah.
I recently did a side project during COVID where I got some iPod parts off eBay and rebuilt an iPod and gave it like 1 terabyte of storage. I found out all the limited constraints where I can only put up to, I believe, 50,000 songs or 80,000 songs, but I could put Apple lossless there. So I made sure it was all Apple lossless to max the 1 terabyte. But the 50,000 count doesn't include video and movies and TV series. So I started processing all of my ripped movies and Blu-rays into the iPod.
Yes.
So that I was like, well, at least if I travel, I now have an iPod that has all my movies and TV
there you go.
on.
Yeah, I love the iPod. I own every model released, basically. Like I've got like 50 shuffles probably because I got a bunch of colors for them, and they're great devices, and they're tanks. Like I've got a 2001 iPod that has the original hard drive that's still running fine. It's bizarre. Like you'd think the hard drives would crash in these things. They do, I guess.
No, they do, but you just took care of it. You didn't throw it around, toss it on the floor.
It's funny. I have to keep around one of my Macs on the last OS to make sure I can sync FireWire still. It's so annoying that they, like, I'd update everything to Tahoe, but I need FireWire support for this old iPods. The Neo, it's kind of an interesting laptop from Apple because I could I don't have I've got the headless MacBook Air that I built as my Vision Pro computer to have. I took the screen. I bought it for like $300 on eBay. A broken MacBook Air baseline M1, and just yanked the screen off and did all the things to make that function. But it's kind of interesting. I could see if you're not a tinkerer, just like $500, $600. What's that in a Vision Pro purchase? Like that's like as much as like some storage upgrades just to have that as your keyboard and kind of your Mac virtual display to use with the Vision Pro kind of. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but it's an interesting computer just as a accessory to the Vision Pro almost price wise.
No, I think the same. I think like there are folks who are carrying Mac Minis or Mac Studios with the Vision Pro so that they can just use it as their separate device. I really, really, really love the MacBook Neo because it is that all-around device. But maybe this is coming from someone who grew up with computers back in the 90s and couldn't find a reason to use an iPad except if they were Gen Zs. Like I tried my best to. I bought every iPad 2, iPad 3, then the Airs, and then the Pros. There was a point where I was like, I'm going to get the M1. And I tried to turn this as my default computer. Like I tried coding, Google Drive, and I'm like, I still can't use this. I sold it, and I said to myself, I really need just a really tiny laptop on the go. I don't want to carry my 16-inch MacBook. So I bought an 11-inch MacBook, upgraded the solid state to 2 terabytes, and then I go around and I just type emails. Like the Neo is perfect for me, and I'm like, maybe I'm just not seeing it differently, but it's working for me. It's like, what do I need to do? And I'm just trying to understand what that is. Maybe I'm just a millennial, but I'm glad the Neo exists because that's now the thing that's filling that that
Yeah,
gap.
totally.
I can toss that 11-inch
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it's I was definitely all on an iPad and still very much am. Back original iPad, I ended up with two because I wanted the cellular one, but I couldn't hold out the month to wait for it. So I got the $500 one and the 64 gig LTE. And I eventually I used both in college. One was the reference screen, the other was where I'm typing. So I was multitasking that way back in the day. And I paired it with a Mac Mini as like a Mac to have around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think I sold I had a 17-inch MacBook Pro, and my upgrade from that was a Mac Mini paired with the original MacBook Air, which was an interesting combination. And then the iPads entered as well. I'm very sad I sold that computer, though, that my first Mac. Kind of want to get like a used one just to have that old design and just to have that in the house again, because I love that lunch plate of the 17-inch MacBook Pro.
Yeah, that's true. I still have my old white college Mac.
Oh, nice.
At home.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's a couple cracks in it, just based on
Oh yeah. So the RAM holder actually cracked, and I'm kind of really disappointed.
Yeah.
I gotta glue it back on to get the RAM, and it's still working. It's just I gotta find a way to fix it.
Yeah,
so.
That was such a nice era where you just the RAM's underneath the battery or whatever. It's so also accessible. The news over at Meta, is that of any interest to you with them shutting down Horizons, right? As being sunset?
Yeah. I guess it's like
what are they doing over there at Meta? Are they like, it seems like they're divesting heavily in their investment there, and like, is there going to be they're going to make another headset, right? After this one? Like, they're not done totally. I'd imagine.
Well, the glasses essentially was selling really well. So at some point they have to create studios or game studios that lean towards the glasses. But right now they're thinking about services and everything. Mm-hmm. There was something I read over, or at least heard over at The Verge coming from Nilay, where he was saying that, or was it probably David? I can't remember. But Mark Zuckerberg is obsessed about the next platform, primarily because when Apple changed a lot of their policies on app regarding privacy and security, it essentially annihilated a portion of his advertising business. And because of that, he had to think what would be the next thing that he could control, whether that was going to be the headsets or the eyeglass or the glasses ecosystem. And having that control would essentially allow him to do what he wants to do. So I guess that's what he's chasing over. So we're still trying to chase those ecosystems. Here we are.
So yeah, your theory, the focus on the glasses as the next thing. They're kind of like, the headsets are there, but we're not gonna worry about them too much.
Yeah, they're because my dad and my uncle, who are not primarily gadget folks, have one because they really saw the use of it.
The Ray-Bans.
Where they would take, the Ray-Bans. They would take family photos without being too intrusive with their giant iPads or their iPhones. They could just stand there. Although they do like a really funny pose where they try to be so not obvious, where they would cross their arms and just like tilt themselves to the side. Like, it's like, and they would be like, oh, Meta, take a photo. It's so weird. But it's like, okay, fine. Everyone knows you're taking a photo at that point, but they really liked it for that. And because of that, I believe it's going to sell in that regard.
I think it's a great form factor, especially if you're like trying to capture, you playing with your kids and stuff, that toddlers and whatever. It's, they're not changing their behavior because the camera's in front of them too. I mean, there's that whole aspect with kids.
I can go for hours about security and privacy on cameras.
There is that,
but it's like, I'm not.
It is funny though. Like, we just assume there's cameras everywhere now, and I just noticed you have glasses on that have cameras. I actually didn't notice.
They're actually They're actually broken.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't know this until
They're
just
broken.
now. But yeah, the cameras themselves are broken.
No, the whole thing's
Oh.
broken. It's like ripped. It's like ripped. They had a firmware update. At least what support told me was they had a firmware update, and it broke the glasses. It actually stopped. It stopped the. I think it was like the speakers. It broke the speakers, and they said just file a return. And I'm still waiting for the email up to this day. And I'm like, I don't know what's taking long. Maybe I'll email you, but so it's like, so they broke it. They capped it. I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter because I had it on like a super, 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 super mega discount. And at the time when people would ask me what I really like this for, it's actually for headphones. Like when I'm walking the dog or walking around and I have a Slack call, I can just use or I'm cooking, I can just have these as my headset, and I'm good. Like it's so unintrusive.
Yeah, I know some jobs don't let you wear headphones, but they might not object to just like glasses with some stuff flying out of them. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would cover the like I would be okay with glasses just having speakers and a microphone like a headset. I don't really need these cameras, but but it's just because it's so convenient. It's not in my ears. It's just here, and I only need to use it for a specific thing. Even when I'm driving, I can take a call. It's like hands-free, essentially.
Now, so Meta's chasing glasses. They're seemingly pretty far along with that. Is there a worry that Apple will get distracted and chase glasses and forget about the headsets?
I think they have a bigger plan in mind. A lot of the things I I worry and I think about with Apple is what software or operating system they'll be using for the glasses, and I hope it will be the Vision Pro operating system because we're all in that platform. I mean, it's all running under their iOS, Vision OS. I guess it's because when I tried the Meta glasses with the display, and they just had this little square screen on the right, I immediately thought, if you place the Watch OS on that screen, you essentially have everything now. You have the notifications, you have the information. It's just on a display because that's what the Watch was. It was a way for me to see posts, messages, information that's on my wrist. But if it was just on the right side of my screen, it would essentially just be the window of the Watch OS. And if that's what happens, then that means we all have to start developing for Screen OS or Watch OS, or it's just a fork off of that. So I'm hoping it's Vision OS. That's just me speculating. But the reason why I came to that thought was when the iPhone was being built, and we know this in the history books, is you had two teams that used the iPod system, and you had Scott Forstall who used the Mac OS system, and mix that up to get iOS. So now that they're doing glasses, it's a question of which fork of the operating system are they going to lead towards that screen space. I
mean, in my mind, it seems like it should be Vision OS without the immersive stuff. That seems basically what it could potentially be.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious about how they end up doing that. Meta needs the puck and the wristband thing. Like, does Apple say for glasses you need to be an Apple Watch user? And I don't know. It seems like the battery would kill your iPhone if you try to use your iPhone for the battery life for the glasses brains.
Yeah.
But maybe they figure that out in a way that doesn't kill the battery. Because
I don't think they'll. Sorry if I'm coughing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they'll be requiring folks to have an Apple Watch. I think it just extends the experience even more. Because I've noticed Apple has never mentioned that if you get an iPhone, you should get a Mac too, or you should get an iPad. That was a situation back then where you couldn't activate your iPhone and you had to connect it to iTunes in order to activate it. So it was very the dependent
only
on those previous devices.
Dependent thing right now is the watch still, even though it shouldn't be.
Yes, it needs.
Yeah, it shouldn't be because there's an app store on there, cellular. Like, you should be able to just buy the watch and activate it without a phone or hook it up to an iPad or something else. But you need the phone.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I guess they both come together. Maybe the next pairing would be the glasses. Look at
yes. Yeah, look at the glasses a pair. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I actually forgot that the watch actually needed the phone. When you put it like that, it actually becomes a really interesting combination because the most powerful compute would probably be your watch, and your glasses would be the display for the for the watch.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and it'll be beaming like the original watch did with the phone, but it'll always be closer to it than the phone ever was because it's wrist to eyes or whatever. Yeah, I'm curious how that'll all go. And like the utility of it being more than just a display for your watch, because like I don't know, the watch display is pretty good. I mean, being in your field of view is helpful, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the glasses and how that'll all play out because, I don't know. Because it's just a weird thing. Like, will it be... Because I love the immersive aspect of the Vision Pro and like the huge screen. If it's just a little corner of your vision, maps are of course useful. But like, yeah, I'll be curious to see utility in that.
Seeing the same thing. What can I ask? What are the primary things you use the Vision Pro for? Like, do you just watch shows there? Do you play games? Out of curiosity.
Bunch of entertainment stuff. Like, obviously, it is my TV. It's where I watch all my shows and sporting events and everything.
Same.
Like, I was watching the World Series and yelling in the bedroom with, I was like, that's where I watch everything because it's the best screen in the house. I sadly don't have control over what television we purchase, so we don't get nice ones. And then I've got the headless MacBook Air that I have upstairs and use with it when I want to do more typing and interactive stuff where I'm like Safari is a big thing where I'm like, let's get a bunch of web pages around me and put some notes up next to me when I'm making up outlines for interviews and whatnot. And it's a great way to just use the Mac in that big space upstairs. So that's one use of it, I guess. The gaming stuff, the only thing I do is the Portal app for streaming PlayStation 5 Pro to it on the local network. And then it looks like they started to implement the PS Plus premium streaming as well to the app, which is kind of cool that he somehow figured out how to hack into the servers to let that happen because Sony probably doesn't like that. But as VR gaming is on PlayStation VR 2, like that's the gaming headset. Like I've tried a couple of experiences with Apple Vision Pro for gaming, and it's Apple's story with gaming all over. Like I don't know. They don't fully get it. The one cool experience was the arcade. That's really dope and awesome. But there's not a lot there, especially compared to just PlayStation VR 2 gaming is so much better for what that is. Like, it frustrates me that like there's no real way to hook up a racing rig to the Vision Pro because all those are USB based. And there's no USB input at all in the Vision Pro. Like, why?
Unless you have the developer strap.
Yes, but there's no, consumer-friendly way where this would ever be a main thing of like hooking up to a racing rig in that way. I've said this before. People are probably annoyed by this, but the battery pack. There should be a new battery pack where that USB port lets me pass through data. Let me hook the battery pack up to a Thunderbolt dock or whatever and have input through that USB input right there. It's very annoying that is just for charging. Seems like that would technically be possible if you engineer it in a way that it can pass through data.
Well, they would have another way to do the input because I think that cable for power only transfers power, they would have to have a new headset where data is also transferred through there.
You're saying the cable itself would need to be... Oh, and the port, you're saying, on the headset doesn't turn...
Yeah, like the amount of... Yeah, the pins. Yeah. I don't know what the pins do, but I think the pins might need, because when you do have the dev strap, it's coming from the opposite side instead of the left side where the power is.
I don't know. Whatever next iteration of Vision Pro is, that's one of my biggest requests, is to use this more as a computer. I want to be able to sit at my desk and hook up to the Thunderbolt dock to hook up, MIDI keyboards to it, hook up hard drives and stuff to it. Like, the most annoying thing is to back up the sucker. It's iCloud or bust. I've got a 1 terabyte model, so that instantly makes me have 1 more terabyte I need on iCloud. There's no way, like an iPad, you can back that up to a Mac. There's, to my knowledge, right, there's no way to like locally back up your Vision Pro over iTunes to your Mac. That's not there, right?
I think you can do that. I cannot confirm, but I believe because you can do device management for the Vision Pro, you should be able to have an image of the device that you can load onto it. So therefore, I think in theory you should be able to back it up.
Okay. In theory. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's a big, I don't know. Because I of course got the 1 terabyte model that filled up instantly. Yeah. But I use it every day. Like, it is, it's on for either 30 minutes to 4 hours depending on the day. It's like, yeah. And I'm so glad that second headband came out with the dual strap, because I was trying all sorts of third-party things. I'm not sure, like, the first weekend this was out, my head was hurting. I was very sad. It's like, why? Oh no.
Why is it so heavy? I did the 3D print where I bought 2 loops. There was like a 3D print one where you modded it and you had like another, you would buy another,
yeah, I've got that as well. Yeah. No, it works. That works. I mean, it was weird, but it worked.
Yeah. And now we have the same thing, essentially.
Yes. With the weighted back, which I think helps a little bit.
I find that a lot more comfortable. So I actually liked it. Yeah. It's my go-to strap now.
Prior to Vision Pro, was VR headset something you had interest in at all?
Yeah. It's like, how do I keep this short and sweet?
Yeah.
Because I know folks can go like for hours. I was very interested in virtual reality because of a cartoon called Johnny Quest.
Okay. The blonde hair. That's the guy.
Yes, there was a version on Cartoon Network where they would go in VR and go to Quest World, and I was like, I've always wanted to get in there and understand what that is. And you had the Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Yeah, I just got my unit in for the Switch. That's been fun. Yeah.
And so in 2013 and 14. I became a creative director for this sort of design group agency that was acquired by a university in the Philippines. And because I was the founder and the boss, we had like this, we had a production studio, we had a radio studio, we had live broadcast system, we had Black Magic and everything, because we did a lot of design, fashion, clothing on all the different schools and institutions. I was trying to experiment on tours, on how do you do tours or show people stories, and we were using an old version of QuickTime VR, which was essentially just like a 360 exploration that you go. And I was like, how do I put in the headset if I just put screens? And then we had the Oculus DK1 and DK2, and then I started thinking, oh, what if we did 360 tours? And I was like, I'm not paying $5,000 or $6,000 for like a rig to put like 6 GoPros and get it going. So what I did, and I talked about this on our podcast, where I got like a little styrofoam, I carved it, placed the GoPros on there, and placed a bunch of rubber bands, and then programmed so that I could be able to do that 360 image. And that's how I sort of like got into it, was I started thinking about storytelling, interaction, because I come from I come from a very I guess it gets confusing when folks like, are you a developer? Are you a designer? Are you this? It's like I tell folks that like I have to tell them the history to give them an understanding of like why I'm like this
Mm-hmm.
bizarre individual. Was I was a theater kid in high school that I would perform, and I always said there was always a way to do the performance better. And they thought I was a very snooty performer because I said, "Oh yeah, we can have better lights, better sounds." They said, "Why don't you do it yourself?" So I ended up studying how everything sort of worked, where
Yeah.
I became this composer, the sound director, and then I started thinking about advertising, and then I thought at some point we're going to involve things with technology. So I took up computer science because I wanted to understand how technology was going to integrate with all these other disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the only computer science student that was like when we would make a UI, and this was before the iPhone. Programming was all Java. I'd be like, button needs to look nicer. We need to have good
Yeah.
onboarding, like you're going into a theater for the first time. And so I was the only one with a Mac, and I was the only one who did that. And I always thought about how can the experience be pleasurable for the person, like why, like I would always say, folks always know exit stage right, exit stage left. So everyone should know where log out should be or where this button should be. So eventually I got into VR and the whole design consultancy thing because I understood how different teams from art, design, marketing would all come together, and I would be able to get them sort of like working
Mm-hmm.
together because I would have it's like when I would have folks who were engineers and they would code something, the last thing they would do is build an icon for the app.
Yes.
But I'd always start with the icon for the app, where I would think about the color palette, how it
Mm-hmm.
looks. So that's kind of how I got there. Was I found that the Vision Pro and VR was this beautiful culmination of different disciplines that I
Yeah.
understood and loved, where I would think about music, video, sound, interaction, video games, theater, and that's why I still keep staying in the space, because there are folks that are very interested in the Vision Pro, and they aren't even programmers. They're like, I'm a dancer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a musician, I'm a thing, because it's sort of like taking that skill that they love and having the opportunity to take it one step further into technology. It's like how the computer was. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what excites me about the Vision Pro and why I'm in this community.
Yeah. From like a theater point of view and all of that, I love the fact with Vision Pro, it's a solo experience, but like live in such a distracted world that this is one of the few environments you put that on and like you're gonna have your focus there. You're not gonna be distracted hardly ever. Which is just a novel thing today, where it's like, oh, I'm watching this game and I'm actually paying attention because that's all that's going on right now.
No, I totally agree with you. The reason that why I love the Vision Pro was something that Steve Jobs said, where it was like headphones for the eyes.
Yep.
He said this. He said this in a talk, and that's what led me to build the app that I have on the Vision Pro, but also that the what you mentioned is giving your focus, because when we used to have CDs and I would have cassette tapes and CDs, I would listen to that whole album of how the artists curated their tracks from track 1 to track 20 or 25, and it was an experience being focused and understanding the lyrics. And I believe the Vision Pro does the same, and we did the same with iPods as well. And when the iPod became a phone, an internet communicator, an iPod,
Mm-hmm.
all three of them into the iPhone, we started spreading our focus to like, we're listening to music, we're chatting with someone on Instagram, and we're doing this and we're doing that. So our focus is off. But the Vision Pro does all of this, but there are experiences where you're focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are the windows, and then there are the experiences where you are focused on what's happening in front of you.
Yeah, and I wish Apple Music. Like I still buy CDs every now and then. Like I got the Jaws whatever 50th this year, and I wish like Apple Music could have such potential of like, let's put this book, liner notes and all that into Apple Music for the Vision Pro, where you're listening and there's this thoughtful way to like read along to the liner notes and all that in a more dedicated experience versus just it's playing in whatever window it's facing,
It can come there. That was one of the inspirations for LALO as well. I don't know if
tell me about LALO.
The app that I have.
What's it all about?
So it is a spatial chorale immersive experience on the Vision Pro, and this is composed of Filipino American choirs here in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. So it's an experience where you listen to chorale music in Apple Immersive Video and 360 spatial audio, and you get to see the space, and we explore storytelling there. But really where this idea came from was in 2024, after the Vision Pro was sort of announced and we got to take a little peek behind it in the Developer Center, a good friend of mine from college, from choir, finished his PhD. Like a lot of my friends, some of them pursued music. They're now doctors. They've composed. They've done the LA Symphony Choir. And he tells me like, hey, how are you? I just graduated in Indiana. I am planning to start this choir. And he's like, you wanna like be part production, sing or something? Because that's actually how I met my wife. I met my wife through choir. She was a soprano. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, I've been doing stuff with this Vision Pro headset, and I want to do something with Apple Immersive Video and spatial audio. And he goes and says like, oh, that's interesting. Like, and our friend Jet, who won a Grammy, she actually mixes for a lot of Apple Music stuff. She's an audio engineer, wants to explore spatial audio. And we were like, okay, I want to do that. So we all came together and we turned it into this project. Well, they're doing these performances so they're flying all these singers who are our friends from college who pursued music. They sing in theater and opera and everything. And we made this choir, and I'm like, okay, now let's record spatial audio. Let's do the immersive video, and let's put an app. So, and then I looked at all the samples. Okay, I'm going to do photogrammetry of our venue. So I would get the iPhone, I would actually like move it around, and I'd put it in Blender, turn it into a 3D space. So if you watch the 2D recordings, it would be just superimposed while you have the environment there. And then we would start thinking about, okay, so while we're watching the immersive video, let's have the score, the piece, we can like lift it up and read it there. And everyone had so many ideas, and we were just talking like, okay, we should have this, we should have that. Okay, I'm putting this in my to-do list. In my to-do list, I'm going to program and code this. And at some point, there were folks like, we can't buy Vision Pros, because all of our attendees who know all the singers are like, we can't buy Vision Pros. And the folks at the Developer Center said, it would be great if you made an iPhone app. And said, well, wouldn't it be weird if I made an iPhone app out of Vision Pro? Like, no, you can do it as a companion. I was like, well, if you say so, okay. So we launched an iPhone app that now has an audio player. It shows what the Vision Pro has. It has, I'm planning to do a lot of AR experiences where you can see the spaces where we perform, and you can like learn about because we do them in these churches, like these old basilicas, and I want to have like a tour for people to know what it is, and we're starting to explore what else can we do with storytelling apart from composer notes, music notes. Can we have experiences, games, words, or things like that for different experiences? So, and recently we just got our Blackmagic camera, so we filmed our first Blackmagic in Mission Dolores Basilica in San Francisco, this really, really beautiful old church. Previous ones were all Canon R5C and Insta360. This one's like, it's the Blackmagic. So
that's awesome. I can only imagine if I was going through college now, like how amazing this stuff would be. Like, because I remember in college, it was just the time of experimenting and like trying out all the technology and all that. And we had professors that were really into. I was a music composition major, so we had composer orchestra. We'd all like perform each other's pieces and stuff. I can imagine like immersive capture and stuff would be a fun avenue, because we'd do things like you'd write pieces where this person is standing in that corner of the room, that person's standing in that other corner, and you're like writing it for the room you're performing it in kind of stuff. It would be very experimental stuff. Like, and and there's the popcorn song where people are playing music based on, there's a popcorn maker in the center of the room, and when a kernel pops out, people would react to the popcorn popping and stuff like that. I can imagine capturing this stuff in immersive would be interesting, to say the least. Yeah.
The interest, I totally agree. College is like a perfect place to try playing with it. The issue with college is if you're filming an immersive, you're shooting in these terabytes and terabytes of data, and you're probably editing this in a MacBook Neo. And for 5 minutes that we recorded on the Blackmagic for one song, it was 500 gigabytes. So and folks could not process, like, how am I going to edit this? And it's like, well, I've done this before, I know what to do, but boy, kids would be wild. And going back to like the college thing, because a lot of our
college are either as broke as you get, or you use it as an excuse to buy the best computer you've ever owned in your life going into college, and then you're pretty broke after that. But it's one of those two scenarios where, I spent I got the $3,000 MacBook Pro going into college, but I was still, poor relatively, Anyways, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying because they're now all PhDs, they've been arguing about how the sound is mixed, the spatial, the echo, everything. And I said, you guys can argue about that. I will put my 2 cents on the mixes, because everyone has like a version of the mix that they like, because it's all everyone has a thought. So it's like, I'm not gonna.
Is the goal to recreate the experience of being there live, or is the goal to create a more pleasant, enhance what was even there?
An authentic capture of the performance in the space.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have, for the Basilica, we had an ambisonic mic at the front. We had 2 Zoom mics at different distances all the way to the back of the Basilica, to the middle of the Basilica. And then we had 2 microphones on the left and right, so that we could just capture that space. And I'm surprised, even we've recorded in other places where we had mics suspended from the ceiling. We were just like, why are we still arguing about the mix up to now?
Yeah, that's wild.
And I just wait. But yeah, no, college and $3,000 Macs. I gotta share this funny thing is, in college, I got the white Mac instead of
black
the
as they called it.
No, there was.
There's a silver MacBook too, right?
I was gonna go broke.
There was a silver one that they just called MacBook.
Yeah, the silver. Yeah, so I got the white one, and then my friend who got the silver MacBook Pro, the 15-inch, that was the one with the buggy NVIDIA graphics card that broke. Yeah. And he's like, my Mac's dead, and it's like, no, Apple cares. Like, it's gone, a warranty. I got to get a new one. I'm like, well, my Intel white one's still running.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I had quite the setup. I had the 17-inch MacBook Pro, and I'd walk around with it, the big backpack. I'd have a MIDI keyboard in the backpack, and I'd also have a full Apple wireless keyboard with the number pad on it, so I could compose music, which is much faster with the number pad and all that stuff. And I'd just set up camp in a lobby with the table and all that. quite the setup back in the day. Yeah,
I love it. I thank you for revealing that you're a musician, because it's I just love talking about music. I like having.
Yeah, if you're about to go through college, enjoy the time. It's you will never have another 4 years where you basically just I was writing music nonstop, and just it was fine. Yeah.
I was bothering people. I was bothering people by saying oh, you need someone to manage your program. I can do that for you. You need a photographer. I can do that for you. It's I was just going around doing favors for people so that I would learn how to do something. So I went to the business department, had to do a case study thing, and I understood Keynote because I needed to make a really good deck, and I would base it off how Steve Jobs would do it. I would go to another department, the marketing, they would do a thing. So I'd think about editing videos on Final Cut Studio, because I wanted to understand how these different departments were doing something, and how can computer science essentially just help them integrate. And And that's what I really love doing. That's why I love learning what people
Yeah.
do and just figuring out how it could just combine. Yeah.
How old are you? It seems, I think, based on the stuff you're saying, I think you're similar, mid to late 30s,
Yes.
early 40s. I don't know.
Mid 30s.
Okay. Yeah. I was born in 87.
Going in mid 30s.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember going through iMovie HD and iWeb and all that good stuff back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. When I tell folks I used to edit things in Cool Edit Pro, they're like, okay. Macromedia is like, okay. So
Yep.
it's like they start like, okay, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. With game design, one thing I really hope Apple unlocks this year with the OS updates is a permission to let game developers tap into eye tracking. Because like one of the coolest game experiences I've had on PSVR 2 has been with eye tracking, where, Synapse, you look at an enemy and you can grab them and throw them around like Darth Vader. There's the immersive, there's the game/movie experience where the game's trying to make you cry basically, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one, where it's basically every time you blink it moves on to a new scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I know that.
And that's not possible in Vision Pro, right? Like, yeah.
You were able to...
Because you can't do eye tracking, right? Yeah, there's no way they could port that to Vision Pro, which is a shame because, as you said, they're dying, and it's a very sad, emotional experience, and you want to keep your eyes open to see what's going on, but it's trying to make you blink. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, I was thinking of a way to tell that story without even blinking, because you can sort of do that. But yes, I hope they'll give access in some way that maintains security and privacy still intact. You just have to know and abstract it in some way. I was like, I had some.
And if it's for a game, and it can be permission only available to game developers and only even immersive games. So it's like, this is only data for the game itself, kind of thing. I don't know in which way they'd have to do it for the privacy angle, which is important for sure.
Yeah, one of the first games I built for the Vision Pro when it came out, one of the launch day, was called Jumpfinity, and I used eye tracking to know. So it's essentially like Doodle Jump. You have this little ball, and you look at a certain corner. There are platforms, and when you look there and you pinch, the ball jumps to that direction. Yeah. And the way I sort of tricked that was I had an invisible plane, and it was billboarding towards you, and it was divided with left and right, and then a middle one, and then it would adjust based on how it was billboarding. So when you moved your head this way, it would billboard this way. When you pinch there, the ball goes to the right. Ball goes to the right.
Yeah.
And then someone says like, oh, it's the first one that was using eye tracking. And I said, well, technically, technically, I don't really know what's happening, but it tells me, because the jump is always fixed. It doesn't really tell you how far you're jumping. It just tells you when you're turning right, you just launch at like 5 points on the screen, or 5 points to the left or 5 points to the right. I don't know if you're going up there, but at least I'm knowing if you're going left or right. And your brain thinks that you're actually going that direction, but really you're not. So,
yeah, with my first experience with VR games was back at PAX East, and I tried the Oculus, and there was this little game where controlling these little toy soldiers, these knights, and when the knight jumped on my shoulder, it felt like it was on my shoulder, and that was like a moment where it's like, oh shit, this stuff. This stuff is powerful, and that connection to your brain is just amazing for the gaming aspect of it all. Like experience, like I played the Resident Evil games 8 and 4 in PSVR 2, and it's like, oh, this is intense and very scary.
That's true. I'm trying to think what was my first VR experience. I know it was on Oculus. I saw a bunch of things and previews, but I would say they're forgettable at this point, because when you got to see the Vision Pro demos, those are the things that stay in your mind now. And
like I wouldn't remember it except for like I remember my shoulder and a sensation of like something on my shoulder, and like that just it's stuck in my memory. It's like that's dope. Yeah.
No, I love horrors. So like Resident Evil 7 was one of the VR games I saw. I never finished it on VR. I played it and then I just took it off, and I'm like, I'm gonna play this on a regular screen now.
Yeah, I still have my PS4 1 hooked up with the adapter to PS5, and I still need to play 7. I've started it many times. I recently got it for Switch 2 because I got that bundle thing, so I might play it there finally. It is a horrific game though. That thing is terrifying.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm playing 9 now. It is horrific.
Yeah,
so.
I'm towards the end of it. I got the Switch too, and runs great there. I'm very happy with that. And it's a lot. And eventually went to third person mode, and that's less scary.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, I'm so yeah. Going back to your point, I hope that games would start to branch out for Vision Pro as they come, and maybe a new version of Reality Composer Pro, because that was always the tool we used to build natively, and we have Unity and Unreal as well, but Unity's locked on that Pro license, and Unreal is still blocked by a lot of coding and being unable to send stuff on it. So
yeah, the situation with controllers is interesting because like as a game, I can't envy a game developer trying to make money on the Vision Pro because like I don't know what 1% of the user base, if that, will have the PSVR 2 controllers. I have the controllers, but they're not paired with my Vision Pro. They're paired with the PlayStation because there's so few games that support it, and I'd rather use the PlayStation for that. Yeah, so you have to design games to the fact that this might be entirely hand-tracked, but knowing that it might be a terrible experience because it turns out buttons and the haptics and everything on a controller really are important. Like the biggest teller to this was when Synth Riders launched on Vision Pro. I tried it. It's like, this is terrible here because like you can't, because on the PSVR 2 you can, the haptics you feel when you're on or off the wave, and like you don't have that sensation with just your hands. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's
well, I think maybe if we pair our Apple Watch, maybe we can get some sensation on our
just with one hand. Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Yeah.
It's haptics are very, very important. At least some sort of feedback, and they are augmented through sound, but sound can only go a long way because it's like we got to touch.
They need Apple should develop like a glove, like a haptic glove or something. Like maybe if they don't want to do controllers that are built in or included or whatever. Yeah,
we'd lose it. We would lose it. We need something that's familiar and native, or maybe something that's. And I think that's why Vision Pro supports multiple controllers. Is it wants to be this I wouldn't say device agnostic, but it's like it's open to so many controllers, and the game itself can just adapt dynamically to those controllers as needed, whatever's comfortable. So it also hits the accessibility mark that you can use a controller that's comfortable and accessible for you.
Are the Joy-Con ones fully supported as like could a VR game that would have the gyros and buttons and not as good as a Sense controller, but I'm curious if that would be an option. I don't know how the Vision Pro sees those, if the gyros included with the data that's sent over.
I would not know. What I know is if you can hook up the Bluetooth controller through the Bluetooth system in the Vision Pro, you can make Unity sort of understand it.
Yeah.
And I think you can do the same with Xcode as well, because Unity has the new controller system that can allow you to use any type of controller and map it to stuff. So,
yeah. I wonder when the Joy-Con 2s will support pairing anything except for a Switch 2. I think those are still locked to Nintendo's hardware for whatever reason.
Yeah, Nintendo is just... Apple of Japan.
Yeah, and I love them for it most of the time.
I love them. I love them for it
Yeah.
too. You can have all my money.
Absolutely. I'm itching for the time when Sony releases their PS6 handheld. That's going to be a lovely day. Handheld gaming is. It's either VR or handheld. Like it's quite. Yeah.
I like playing my games with full focus.
Mm-hmm.
So handhelds are only good for me when I'm on a plane because there's no distractions. So I have a Steam Deck that I take out when I'm on a plane because that's the only time where I have undisturbed
Yes, I can see
attention.
That. I also like it just from I see stuff better up close, so handhelds are better with my eyes. Or in the Vision Pro, which I've said the Vision Pro is great because like I put it on, perfect vision in there. No screen. No.
Yeah. This conversation is opening up like this my design school brain where I was like, yeah, I think the reason why I want to have focus in games is because we played games before where we were not distracted on a TV screen, and it's so foreign to us that when we're on a handheld and we're told to do something else, we can't put it down because we're told to play for only an hour by our parents. Like, Mom, I'm not done. I got 1 hour left. And also they design games with the concept of flow, like when you're doing work. So, or like, when you get into a state of flow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get off the state of flow, it's hard for you to get back into it. So that's why I think handhelds are difficult for me, because when I get to a state of flow, I don't want to leave the state of flow. I want to finish what I need to do and then move on to the next task.
Yeah. I guess I also appreciate handhelds, I guess, from the aspect of I can hit the sleep button and it'll be fine versus on PlayStation. Hope the power doesn't go out, and so some games don't let you save, right? Like Resident Evil doesn't necessarily let you save anywhere you want to, but on the Switch I can just put it to sleep and it's fine. Yeah,
that's true.
And
gotta get all those ink ribbons.
Yeah. You're playing it now. I didn't discover until like towards the end of the game that the raccoon things you can actually destroy, and that's like a collectible thing. It's like, oh, these are interesting little raccoon things. And I noticed I can just whack it with my machete or whatever. It's like, oh, okay.
It was a reference to the gecko or the frog in Resident Evil 4. Okay. It was a reference to that. Yeah,
I played 4, 8, and I'm almost done with 9. I need to like revisit the stuff leading up to it in a big way. Like, I own many of them. They've been on sale on PlayStation, so at some point I just need to knock it out.
I replay 1, 2, and 3 and try to remember when I was a kid, but now I just like speed run whenever I played. It's like when you played Mario, you're like, I know where to go. I'm just doing this. I just want to imagine what it was like when I was playing this for the first time.
Yeah. As far as like the sound design in Vision Pro, does it also impress you just how thoughtful everything is? Like even just going to the home screen, there's like this subtle like just tone that's not obnoxious. You'd think it would be if you're hearing it all the time, but the sound design of Vision Pro impresses me more than anything else, and it's like the only OS that Apple doesn't have like a mute button to mute every sound. It's like you're gonna hear the sounds because they're great.
Yeah, I was very curious on the sound design on the Vision Pro because a lot of the sound design for the original iPhone was grounded in real objects, like the vice grip for the unlock. Mm-hmm. You had sounds that felt very rooted in machinery to make you feel like, yes, this is a physical. It had skeuomorphic sounds. It had I would say skeuomorphic sounds. And then when you go to the Vision Pro, I was like, what sound design are they going to be going for? What tone? What is it? And what key? Like everything was like going through. It's like, okay, it's ambient, it's low, it's casual, it's pleasant.
It's like it's not too soothing. Like it's like, oh, this is like a meditative computer almost. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's just when you're coming out of reality and going into an alternate reality, and you need something to transition you into these other realities, you should have a tone that's sort of in transit, or sort of like in the elevator music. Well, not completely Muzak, but like in that state to bring you to the next grounding track.
Yeah. With the YouTube app, do you think it doesn't support Apple Immersive uploads, or does it? I think it's just like standard VR content. Is there a future where we eventually get to that point on YouTube itself?
That's like a very multi-layered question. It's like the Apple Immersive format has a bunch of additional metadata and configuration to create the AI VU file coming from Blackmagic, because it delivers a experience that understands the lens, the distortion, your movement, and all that stuff. With YouTube, I noticed it's still using a lot of the metadata from the Google Cardboard days. It can support HDR, it can support stereoscopic, it can support 360, 180, but you inject it in the way that it used to be done before. You actually go to GitHub, they have this spatial media injection tool. I think they have them on Premiere, and then you would put it in and you upload, and you have to make sure YouTube understands it and then it can display it. So they have to sort of do something in that pipeline. But also Apple Immersive Video is Apple's own proprietary thing, so I don't think they'll be able to put in there.
Yeah. It's kind of like...
I think that's a short answer. Yeah.
I remember Apple was fighting with Google about video codecs back in the day. I think that's been solved at this point, but...
With AV1, yes. It's been solved with AV1. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No. I was like just reading through, trying to explain. I was explaining to someone like, what is H.264, H.265, WMV decoders, encoders, AV1 encoders? Like what are they? Because I was explaining, like, I want to have a review of the MacBook Pro Max actually doing noise reduction on an Apple Immersive Video, because that's the only thing that's going to bring these devices to its knees. Where everyone's like, yeah, it'll take you like a minute. It'll take you like 2 minutes. I don't know why you need two ProRes encoders and decoders. You know, like, folks are going to say those like that. And I'm like, someone please throw an Apple Immersive Video and please tell me how long it takes to do a denoise for like a Max, a Pro with this much of RAM. And then I will totally, it will be so helpful for me because I know when I'm going to make a purchase.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm curious if you have ever gone to a ScreenX theater before. I stumbled upon this a couple weeks ago. This is a 270-degree field of view theater. Basically, there's projectors on both the walls next to you, where the main movie's in front of you, but around you is more of the movie. And it's remarkably a good experience. Like, it's not quite a full immersive where it's like above you, but it's like all around you. I'm curious if you've experienced this, and I would love you have okay, and I would love if Apple could somehow. They should have IMAX. They should have ScreenX, like facsimiles within Vision Pro. I think
like they can. Sorry, I was like that opened up like a can of worms in my head, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I love movies, and I always go to the theater as much as I can. So when I was in New York, I would go to the 4DX, I would go to the ScreenX. The movie that I watched so many times was actually Star Wars Episode 7, the one that we all hated, The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
I guess,
people loved it or hated it. Like it was on those two camps. I rather enjoyed it, but yeah.
I enjoyed it. I actually loved it, and people were like, yeah, it's controversial in the sense. Yeah.
My biggest gripe with that trilogy is they didn't have a single vision for the trilogy. They just like, oh, we'll figure it out movie to movie. That was my biggest disappointment just of the trilogy itself. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Imagine giving so much money. It's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I was like, wow. You just give millions of dollars of we'll figure it out. It's like, it's terrifying. But So I saw it on the Screen X, and I really really liked having the peripheral vision, but I didn't like that it really didn't cover the whole space. But it was enough for me that while I was looking ahead, I could see these visuals running through the
Yeah.
side, and it was sort of just playing with my. It brought me there because we're so used to using our peripheral vision, like we don't know. It's like our animal
Mm-hmm.
instinct, and that's what it's sort of supplemented. And if the Vision Pro had a player or maybe an extension of Apple TV, well, I guess they'll probably have to user test
Yeah.
this, where they could take those Screen X renders and create a version where you're watching it and it just extends it to your peripheral.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the peripheral in the Vision isn't that wide, but it should be enough for you to
Yeah.
see a little bit of
Do
something.
you know how they're doing that? I've noticed often they're IMAX movies that are also Screen X. Is it something to do with the IMAX capture and rendering with that more data from IMAX in any way, or?
So it depends on the approach. So when they shoot films, they shoot them at a wider aspect ratio. Like they have the whole sensor.
Mm-hmm.
It's open gate, and then they would crop everything. They would put the borders when they
Yeah.
do the release. So you can go to YouTube and look for open gate Spider-Man, open gate Harry
Uh-huh.
Potter, and they would usually put those borders on the projection screens, but the open gate reveals sort of what's on the top and bottom. You'll see probably grips,
Yep.
their hands, and this is very evident by watching Friends HD versus Friends SD, because they extended, well, it's the opposite. It doesn't go up and down, it goes wider.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see extra standing on the corner.
Yeah.
So they would shoot it, they would probably shoot it at a wider and then use those extensions as the sides.
Okay. Yeah. If they're shooting for Screen X, they're like making sure stuff's out of the way if they're shooting for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I would love to. My biggest frustration is the stupid IMAX like home release. Why don't they? I wish they could home release the IMAX aspect ratio. Like people have big TVs, they don't want stuff cut off. Like when I watch Dune 2, most frustrating thing is like this is not the full frame. I know it's not. Like, it's yeah.
Oppenheimer full frame, like on the theater.
Yeah,
So
it's bizarre. It's like why isn't there Blu-ray IMAX where it's that full aspect ratio? It's like,
Maybe if I get back to film, I will understand. It's probably a legal thing.
yeah, it could be
It's
IMAX
always
holding
most
everyone
likely
hostage.
illegal.
Like it's only in theaters because that's what the license is for or something.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you can always film for the aspect ratio and not even. Yeah, that's why they have film for IMAX
Mm-hmm.
and wider aspect ratios and release that if you want. But it's just a way to get people into theaters. Like I would watch something that had a wider aspect ratio just because I want to see
Yeah.
more.
And the funny thing is, like, Tron Legacy, I believe the release that came out recently, the 4K print, had the IMAX stuff baked into it, so it actually does change aspect ratio. It's now in 3D. Like it's a cool experience where it's going the IMAX aspect ratio now and it's 3D. It's like, oh, this is great. So we're waiting so long on that one.
Oh yeah.
My white whale is Prometheus, though. I want Fox/Disney to finally release Prometheus in 3D on Vision Pro and 4K. It's so frustrating that they have not done that. 'Cause, yeah.
I was like, is there something that I really want to watch? It's like, no, they've released so many versions. I'd be like, I would just want a cleaner color of the Lord of the Rings extended edition. But
Yeah.
like that's a whole film conversation
Yes.
of like why this color correction was better.
That was such a fun era of the DVDs, like Peter Jackson explaining everything, and that's where I learned about color grading. Were those like DVD extras? Yeah,
Commentary.
and yeah, the featurettes and stuff. Yeah,
The and that's why. Yeah, that's why I still buy iTunes. I want to do the extras and I want to listen to as much as I can up to now.
And it frustrates me though, and that the commentaries are not extra audio tracks, but a different version of the movie that you need to, on the Vision Pro anyways, download the Movies Anywhere app and hope they're in there, because that's where you get the extras, because the TV app can't be bothered to support those yet.
Yeah. My the thing that I want to try and do, or maybe at least I do with my games, is I like the commentary feature of Valve's Half-Life
Yeah.
series, and I do them with my games. When I made Jumpfinity, I had a secret button where you can have a commentary version, because I like explaining and telling folks how this was built so they can sort of understand, because it's like you're going to get historians. I think this is how Myst was made. They used the hypercar. People are figuring out. It's like just watch the documentary.
Yeah.
They'll explain how it's done, because it helps people.
Yeah. I miss the golden era of the director commentaries. Yeah, Lord of the Rings include like 6 or 7 of them on all the different departments and stuff, and Ridley Scott's done a bunch over the years.
Oh, it's like, why would there be a documentary with the actors and another one with the director? Couldn't they just have put everyone in the same room?
Well, different perspectives on the same point in the movie. Yeah, of course. Yeah. There, the Matrix had one where there's philosophers giving a commentary of the movie, and then the directors had a different one. It's the golden era. Like we still get them every now and then, but it feels they're less. It feels like they were more open back in the day, and the commentaries are less profound than they used to be. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. They saved them for those variety. What's happening in the frame? Yeah. So we had a thing here and we had a thing here, and they saved them for that.
Yeah. But yeah, imagine a Vision Pro thing where for the extras they would have a video recording of them filming the commentary as a secondary video that's synced up with the main video that you could just look at them and capture that in some kind of like 3D way where they're just sitting next to you so you're watching the movie in some way talking about it.
That would be so. If we had a way to record our personas, I would totally do this in one project.
That's what they need to do. They need to have Peter Jackson or whoever the persona capture their commentary, and it's like you're doing a spatial watch party where you can just look over. There's director chatting about the movie. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to be able to do that, because I know that in some of the special YouTube episodes with Justine and Brian Tong, they would do their personas, but they would be filming from a separate device. I don't even know if you know this, but they had an external camera that saw everyone's personas talking to each other. But we couldn't do that with our Vision Pros, because someone would have to be there and have their head still.
Right.
Like they can't move to get the shots. Yeah.
I think Max are probably involved in actually capturing the personas and recording it. Probably.
Yeah, you're gonna need an app that's able to have the personas in the virtual space, because when we run the personas on a Mac, it'll just show square screens with us. It's not really like
3D. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything we didn't cover that you'd like to before I wrap it up?
No, we've actually talked about so many things. So this podcast is like, we talked about the Neo, we talked about music, video, editing, Vision Pro, games. We glanced about some things. So yeah, I think we've covered a good amount. I would say I am excited for WWDC and what's getting announced, and we'll be having some live in-person events there with the community. So if there are folks that are listening who are in town, we have Step Into Vision events that's going to be happening, and other events as well. So with Community Kit.
Very cool. Yeah, 'cause there's all sorts of offshoots from WWDC that like coexist with it. I know it felt like it was a bigger deal back when it was in San Jose, but that still exists in the Cupertino done version. Right. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the big one. There's anyways. Yeah. But yeah, very cool. So, and the Step in the Vision will have all that info about what's going on with that, and that's Step into .vision for the website on that.
Yeah, we'll be partnering with the other communities as well. There, the same folks that did the events from the since WWDC came back in 2022. So we're gonna have those events, and it's gonna be exciting. Like it'll be announced when WWDC is announced. So
should be soon. Yeah. It's end of March. We got April, May, and then we're there. We got 2 months basically.
Fingers crossed that luck is on everyone's side. I have my fingers crossed. Hopefully that I can get a lucky golden ticket again to get in. So,
yeah. I have no idea how rare those are or whatnot. So my guess for WWDC is June 8th, because June 1st is the first Monday of the month. It seems like they wouldn't do June 1st. I don't know. This is the weird one, because like most time I have a pretty strong feeling, but this one it could be 1st or 8th. I don't know.
I think it'll be probably 8th. Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, most years I can like predict it pretty well because like based on when June hits and all that. But anyways,
we'll know
soon enough. Yeah,
pretty soon.
Make sure to check out your podcast. Just search for Step Into Vision. It's also on the website, and that's every other week. Is there a certain day of the week that comes out?
So the next episode, I'm actually opening the calendar right now. The next episode will be coming out on the 27th.
Very cool. I'm looking at the calendar now. Friday. Yep. Cool.
We try to space things out as we are doing stuff with Step Into Vision, because we also have the Shared Visions documentary we're working on, and so we all have our hands tied on so many side projects that it's like, okay, we got to make sure we just can't do this.
I also appreciate that's the opposite week from which Vision Pros comes out. So you got Vision Pros this week and your podcast the following week. You know, because I'm also bi-weekly, so that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Well. Folks are going to be hearing my voice and it's going to be like, who's this guy? This guy's so annoying.
But yeah, great first episode, kind of roundtable format. Definitely check that out. And anything else you want to promote on social networks or anything? You guys have the Discord channel and all that.
Yeah, we have Step Into Vision, and I'm sure Joseph on the show has promoted Step Into Vision, Shared Visions, and all the projects we have. So I will go and promote my app LALO Immersive on Apple Vision Pro and on the iPhone, and we are going to release our new recording sometime later, maybe closer to Dub. So it's filmed with the Blackmagic camera, 5 tracks. And this app itself is just managed and produced by yours truly and a couple of friends. So it's not a big studio. Yeah. If it gives the impression that it is, then we might probably be doing a good job then. But it's just a good amount of friends trying to figure it and do our best and make a good experience.
How do you spell LALO?
LALO.
LA. That's just how it sounds.
Yeah. It means in Filipino it means more. So it's like, how can we give more or do more, kind of like that.
And I didn't ask earlier, but what's the business model you decided upon for this app?
So we did a subscription, and the subscription we're hoping people would subscribe on the iPhone. So that's the business model we have on the app until other folks are open to selling their scores and music. We do make money off the shows, but of course it isn't enough. It's enough to pay for the choir and enough to pay me the coverage and everything. But the right now it's a subscription, and if you want to, I guess, give more, you can pay for the show itself. So you can give us more money if you want, but the subscription keeps us going and the server's running and keeps us singing and keeps me playing with the Vision Pro.
Excellent. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, Paolo.
Yes, thank you so much, Tim. I had a really wonderful conversation. We talked about so many things.
Yeah. We'll have to chat again, especially after WWDC, with all the announcements and hopefully some good ones this year. Well, that was my discussion with Paolo about all sorts of Apple Vision Pro stuff and movies and all the tangents. Make sure to check out stepinto.vision for all that they are up to, including their podcast. And as a reminder, you can support this podcast over at visionpros.fm/Patreon or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, I'll talk with everyone again real soon.